Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and continuing on with Phineas and Ferb Weekend. Yes, so that's right. As was teased in the last review video, the next Phineas and Ferb special that I am now reviewing, you're watching it, of course, yes. And of course it was obvious, and with what I teased, yeah, where this Phineas and Ferb special, which, being one of the episodes of the series, episode 13 of season 4, where the boys, unexpectedly / surprisingly, come face to face and team up with Earth's mightiest heroes, yes. And that, of course, being Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel. Yes. So Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel, well, boy, of course, again, I was there. I was there, like all of us, when Phineas and Ferb was on Disney Channel and on Disney XD, because, yeah, Disney XD also having Phineas and Ferb. And I remember, of course, like, when this was announced and, a special, teaser for what to expect for Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel, and with its storyline, and whom is going to be in this and such, and and when, like, say, we had gotten the first official trailer, and by the time when the episode premiered, I remember, because I think, most notably me and my mom, we did watch this, yeah. I mean, I, of course, remember her reaction to when this episode started and how it starts off, because with Spider-Man coming down, Aunt May, Phineas and Ferb, so on so. Yeah, that was pretty good. Of course, this was no disappointment. It worked so well. Having the boys interact with some of the Earth's mightiest heroes, from the Avengers. And of course, the fact that, most notably on Disney XD, yeah, we had those Marvel animated shows from Avengers Assemble, Spider-Man, with Drake Bell voicing Spider-Man, and one or two others, and even when Guardians of the Galaxy came along after the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So, you know the basics, but yeah. Funny enough, like, this isn't the first time that, some of these Marvel characters in the realm of animation has crossed paths with, say, some characters from a Disney Channel show. And if you know where I'm going with this, because I remember most notably in the Spider-Man animated series, there was a Halloween episode where Spider-Man crossed paths with the characters of Jessie. Literally. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting one. Yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't say it's bad, but definitely this takes the spot, being the best crossover where we have Marvel characters crossing paths with characters with Disney Channel. Phineas and Ferb, okay? This tops it off. But anyways, yeah. And of course, as we would expect from Phineas and Ferb, the gags, the jokes, the hilarious moments here and there, and with them interacting with the Marvel characters does not disappoint, and with its storyline, and of course, the fact that we have some of the Marvel villains teaming up with whom else? Dr. Doofenshmirtz, up to when, like, they betray him and they were just using him and such. And of course, having Agent P be involved, he's in his superhero getup, just, yeah. Yeah, overall, and having done a rewatch of this, of course, why wouldn't it? It holds up, of course, and it's an amazing piece of Phineas and Ferb material where, yeah, we have Phineas and Ferb and the gang team up and work alongside with some of the Earth's mightiest heroes, and with what goes on in the special itself. Just, yeah, what more do I have to say? Okay, alright, so, as always, with the first things I've had to say about Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel, now, read the description / the story. When Dr. Doofenshmirtz's latest invention causes the Marvel heroes to lose their powers, they team up with Phineas and Ferb to save the world from Doofenshmirtz and the Marvel villains. Okay, simple as that. So, yeah, so getting into, well, Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel itself. As I already brought up, like, the way it opens where, yeah, the logo shows Spider-Man comes down and, you know, Aunt May, Phineas and Ferb are doing a crossover, and yeah, we are, so, and, we see Phineas, Ferb, Isabella, Baljeet, and, yeah, Buford. They're all surfing in space, and especially with the help of their satellite/space station, you know, to provide them power for their, you know, hoverboards in space, you know, to surf around in space, and, you know, we already get our first song, and yeah, I mean, of course, the songs in Phineas and Ferb always being original songs, they never disappoint. Yeah, so, and when they come back to the space station, Irvin, Irving, yeah, I'm pretty sure I am pronouncing his name right. Yeah, Irvin, once again being voiced by Jack McBrayer. The fact that Irvin just appears, yeah, he only appears right there at the beginning on the space station. That's it. So Irving was monitoring what they were doing. Meanwhile, we see Doofenshmirtz having already captured Perry in his clutches, and Doofenshmirtz unveiling to Perry that he has built a power draininator. Basically, he's going to drain out the powers of his brother, whom is the mayor, and, you know, him wanting to take the position of his brothers, and, well, even, like, Doofenshmirtz giving more details on what he's going to do, running mayor, and even, like, whipping out some big scissors. But he accidentally uses the scissors on this tube that's connected to what's keeping Perry hostage, and Perry breaking free, destroying the power draininator, and, you know, smacking Doof once, and then he just walks off. However, unbeknownst to Perry, the power draininator is kind of still active, and a laser from the power draininator shoots in the sky, and, well, we see that it makes its way, hits Phineas and Ferb's space station on the satellite dish, it bounces back, and, yeah, then it makes its way back to Earth. It's making its way to New York City, and there, in New York City, well, one of the first characters we see in New York City is, and of course, it wouldn't be, especially at that time, wouldn't be something Marvel without having a good old cameo from Stan Lee. Yeah, because Stan Lee making a cameo as the New York hot dog vendor. Yeah, and even Dan voices the customer, you know, about to get a hot dog, Vinny. Yeah, his name is Vinny. So, and we see the Marvel villains unleashing chaos in New York, and of course, seeing the Earth's mightiest heroes emerge. And yeah, the Avengers that appear in Mission Marvel, which of course you know by now, are Thor, Tony Stark / Iron Man, Peter Parker / Spider-Man, and Hulk. And in this, Thor being voiced by Travis William, if I'm pronouncing his last name right, again, you know me sometimes, Adrian Pastar voicing Tony / Iron Man, and Drake Bell, of course, voicing Peter / Spider-Man, and Fred Tatasciore, of course, voicing Hulk. Yeah. And the villains that we get in Mission Marvel are Red Skull being voiced by Liam O'Brien, MODOK voiced by Charlie Adler, I think, yeah, I'm pronouncing his last name right, Venom in this being voiced by Danny Trejo, and yeah, isn't it really cool we got Danny Trejo voicing Venom? That totally fits. And finally, Whiplash being voiced by Peter Stormare. Yeah. So they're the group of villains that we get in this, and them taking on the Avengers, and, well, at one point, the laser from the power draininator that hit Phineas and Ferb's space station on the satellite dish bounced its way back to Earth. It strikes / hits the Earth's mightiest heroes, draining their powers. They don't have any powers to them. Thor not able to wield his hammer, Hawk with his super strength, smashing and such, Spider-Man able to climb buildings, you know, walls, and shoot his webs, and Tony, well, you know, he's unable to move at all at first, you know, his iron suit being completely stiff. So, yeah, and when they were hit by the ray, the villains made their escape. So yeah, so now they are powerless, and how else are they going to fix this? Well, making their way back to the helicarrier, and of course, we get Nick Fury in this, and Nick Fury in Mission Marvel being voiced by Chi McBride. Yeah, and yeah, it's obvious that most of them like voicing the Marvel characters in the Marvel animated shows. Yeah, just want to get that out. But yeah, Nick Fury already informs them on how this happened. Well, because they were struck by some laser that, they think that it mainly came from this space station, which belongs to, well, two boys from Danville in the tri-state area, Phineas and Ferb. And Peter/Spider-Man, commenting on Phineas, whoa, that kid's got a weird shaped head. Well, I mean, yeah, but still, not to be rude or anything. Obviously, that's not where Peter was going, but yeah. So they have to make their way to Danville, to the tri-state area, to meet with Phineas and Ferb about what's happened. But little do they know at first, where it really originated from. And, even when, say, the villains, they discover this, and, because, it was, Doofenshmirtz, saw this on the news, where apparently, yeah, in the news of Danville, it's reported that over at New York, yeah, the Earth's mightiest heroes / the Avengers lost their powers. And Norm making a brief appearance, he's cleaning up the mess, the remains of the power drainator, and Doof, knowing that was his doing, that, the bit of laser from the power drainator, it made its way to New York, striking the superheroes. And he puts this on his social media, that he stole the powers from the heroes. And this would lead to the villains, Red Skull, Whiplash, MODOK, and Venom, to realize what all happened and how the Avengers lost their powers. And yeah, learning that it was by the doing of Doofenshmirtz. So now they also have to make their way to Danville to meet with Doofenshmirtz. So yeah. And when Phineas and Ferb are greeted by the Avengers, yeah, and because they tell the Avengers that, they had nothing to do with taking their powers away. And Candace popping in, because, yeah, Linda / Phineas and Candace's mom, her going out for the day, and of course she's gonna miss out all that's happening. Because her out for the day, taking a stroll through Danville, and listening to, something on headphones, like a tour guide or something, locations of Danville. It's pretty funny. And Candace amazed by the sight of the Avengers being here, and she's a fangirl, especially since she had to be caught up on a Ducky Momo crossover event. Yeah, where Ducky Momo teams up with the Avengers, of course. So yeah, and thus, for Phineas and Ferb, along with Baljeet and Buford, and Isabella and Candace, all helping out the Avengers on their situation, and in order to try to find a way to get their powers and so on. Meanwhile, Perry, he receives a special mission from Oka, if I'm pronouncing that right specifically, Major Monogram telling Perry that, Nick Fury has stepped in, and, they are, S.H.I.E.L.D. and, the headquarters are teaming up, because, with the Marvel villains teaming up with Doofenshmirtz. And Monogram in this, well, of course, hilarious, where Monogram is trying to look cool with one eye patch, then another, and then when he sports a beard like Nick Fury. It was pretty funny. And Perry receiving his own superhero costume, which looks pretty cool, by the way. And so it's up to Perry to investigate the whole situation on what's happening with the Marvel villains and Doofenshmirtz, together. And coming back to Doofenshmirtz and the villains, because, Doof at one point showed them his other innators, but they just want to, know about the Innator that he built that drained the powers of the Earth's mightiest heroes. And, well, because it had been destroyed, and thus it needs to be repaired. However, Doof needs to do a bit of shopping, and having them tag along with him, and, and by their annoyance, especially on Red Skull. And also, God, because a couple of times Doof would have trouble understanding Red Skull's speech, his how he speaks and such, and with his accent. Well, duh, because he's German, so yeah. And like that sequence where Doof and Red Skull, MODOK, Whiplash, and Venom, they're strolling through Danville, and another song number that we get, which, it's one of my favorites. How could it not be? And I'm sure the same goes for all of you. Like, this is a pretty funny, catchy song. My evil buddies and me, shoot dooby doo dooby doo ah. Yeah, Doof just a montage of Doof, causing trouble in Danville, like, flicking a little girl's ice cream, or knocking over a biker gang's bikes, or stealing coins from a fountain, ding-dong ditch, and stealing, something from a vacuum cleaner, and just a bunch of stuff, and, pointing out to everybody that witnesses what Doof's doing that, these are my evil buddies. What are you going to do about it? It's funny. But, eventually, because they finally make their destination to the Googleplex Mall. Yes, the Googleplex Mall is where they go to, where Doof has to do some errands, and in order to fix up the power draininator, make a second one. So, yeah. Meanwhile, back at Phineas and Ferb's house, Phineas and Ferb, they show the Avengers the shed, and it looks nothing really interesting from the outside, but in the inside, oh yeah, it's humongous, filled with enormous gadgets and so on. The technology that Phineas and Ferb have. And according to Ferb, because of course, Ferb gets a few speaking lines, as he should, and especially, you realize that Ferb, mostly in the Phineas and Ferb specials, like the movies and the specials, if they're like, say, 45 or 50 minutes or something, Ferb would get a good chunk of lines. Because in the usual episodes of Phineas and Ferb, he will get like maybe 1 or 2 lines. But sometimes in certain Phineas and Ferb materials, he would get more than just, say, 2 lines. You see what I mean? Anyway, so Ferb explaining to the Avengers that the inside of the shed was based off of British science fiction technology. An obvious Doctor Who reference, because the inside of the shed, bigger from the outside, bigger on the inside, you get the point. Very clever. Well, duh, because the fact that Ferb and his dad are British, By the way, because, we do get one appearance of Ferb's dad. He's just there for one moment, but until, I get there, so, and just, and you realize, because, Lawrence, Ferb's dad, being totally cool and okay, like, with whatever the heck Phineas and Ferb are doing, like, he's there most of the time at the house, and, sometimes has seen what the boys have done. But, of course, the mother hasn't. So, Anyway, so at one point in the shed, they built this machine that could help restore their powers, give them back their powers temporarily. However, Candace, wanting to really help and such, she's, too excited. Well, she accidentally pushes a button and something goes wrong. They do get their powers back. However, the powers are switched. Thor has Spider-Man's powers. Iron Man has Thor's powers. At least he's able to move. Spider-Man gets the Hulk's powers, and as for Hulk, he gets Iron Man's powers, but without the suit. So, but at least his speech is, has approved. Anyways, and Phineas, it's very rare we would see, like, say, Phineas lose his cool. And especially him losing his cool towards his older sister. Because, yeah, Phineas is not satisfied with what Candace did. Even though it wasn't intentional of her, she just really wanted to help. Yeah. Her fangirling just got to her. So, yeah. And, well, at least, with them having their powers, but them being switched, hopefully something good could come out of it. So, yeah. And then they find out on the news that, yeah, trouble is happening at the Googleplex Mall, and they have to make their way to the Googleplex Mall because, well, obviously, when they arrived at the Googleplex Mall, they're tired of Doof's, shenanigans and what he's doing, and, they want to, and by this point, they're just wanting to cause mayhem and to lure the Avengers to them at the mall. So yeah, that's what they're doing. And thus, the Avengers have to go there to confront and stop the villains with the help of Phineas and Ferb because, and it was very fitting that we get to see this, that, an Iron Man suit wannabe happening to appear in Mission Marvel, and that, of course, being the Beak. Yeah, and yeah, in this they had built a second Beak suit. However, one thing about it, it's not waterproofed yet. They haven't installed that yet, and thankfully, it's not raining today, so they can get out the Beak suit, and yeah, thus helping the Avengers to stop the villains at the Googleplex Mall. So yeah. Even Stark mentioned about, possibly Phineas and Ferb applying for, for Star Tech and such. I mean, yeah, could you imagine Phineas and Ferb being a part of Star Tech? And oh boy, because what they would bring to Star Tech would be the next step in the evolution of Star Tech. You see what I mean? Just, oh yeah. Anyways, so they gear up and, yeah, making their way to the Googleplex Mall, and the sequence where, yeah, and actually, and I remember now because this was technically a two-parter, so, by the time they made their way to the Googleplex Mall, the Avengers, Phineas and Ferb, yeah, I mean, then, boom, straight into part 2, we get a bit of narration, where we last left off, Stan Lee being the narrator, and, yeah, so the sequence where we have the Avengers with the powers being swapped in them, trying to take on the villains. Well, and yeah, of course, in the addition of Phineas and Ferb and the Beak suit, and them trying to take on and help the Avengers take on the villains, well, in the end, doesn't go pretty well. However, when it seems like, yeah, they've been defeated by the villains, sure enough, Perry steps in, unbeknownst to Phineas and Ferb, whom it really is. They see that it is a superhero platypus. Even, yeah, of course, the Avengers seen that too. So Perry helps out, gathers up and saves the Avengers, Phineas and Ferb, still in the Beak suit. And keep in mind, because how Phineas and Ferb work in the Beak suit, Phineas is like, in the main part of the suit, the body and, in the helmet. Ferb controlling the legs. Yeah, so they escape and, yeah. And, because Perry dropping them off, and something about that superhero platypus, reminds Phineas of someone, looking very familiar. Spider-Man pointing out that maybe it's Howard the Duck. That was a funny reference to Howard the Duck. And even Tony, his comment on that, like, no, that's not Howard the Duck. So, yeah. And back in the shed, well, while they were gone, Baljeet, Buford, along with Isabella and Candace, they tried to restore and repair the machine, and it seems like they've made progress. However, something else goes wrong. Candace notices that it's not plugged in, and by plugging it in, it strikes at Baljeet, turning him into a Hawk version of Baljeet. Yeah, he becomes Baljeet Hawk. Yeah, I think that's the correct way to put it. God. We have yet another problem, and yeah, who'd have thought, because, we would see Baljeet turning into the Hawk. It's kind of fitting, especially since, he's not that very muscular or anything like that. Just, I think it would have been too obvious if Buford would have become a Hawk variant. Yeah. It works very well for Baljeet. And Baljeet, losing his temper and, well, yeah, breaks the wall and making his way out to Danville to cause mayhem. And Phineas, oh yeah, he's pissed at Candace that she didn't learn her lesson. She was trying to redeem herself, but again, she didn't do this intentionally. How was she supposed to know what would happen? And with, yeah, Baljeet turning into a Hawk variant. And Phineas, he revokes Candace's membership of, being a part of the Shed, her badge and so on. And, yeah, telling her that she's got to go. Golly. Phineas being very harsh on Candace. But what happens very later on, just, yeah. Anyways, even Isabella, her wanting to help out some more and help Buford to go after and / catch up with Baljeet to calm him down. But Buford telling him that, no, he'll do this, yeah, her assistance is not needed for this, and yeah. And for a little bit, we have a moment where, yeah, Isabella and Candace, they feel left out, feeling that they are not capable of helping them out and such. Especially on account that, we have no heroines. Am I saying that right? Maybe not, but you know what I'm saying. Just we don't get any female heroes appearing in this. No Black Widow, especially no Scarlet Witch. I mean, besides, Scarlet Witch didn't make her debut, a year after Mission Marvel. Because keep in mind, both her and Quicksilver, they first debuted / appeared in Captain America Winter Soldier. So, yeah. And then, of course, when we would get, say, Avengers Age of Ultron. Yeah, in all their glory. So, yeah, but still. And another song number we get between Isabella and Candace. I mean, I don't know, because, it's another good one. Yeah, because Only Trying to Help. And, Ashley Tisdale and Allison Stoner having good singing voices, and with what this song explains about what's going on with both of them, yeah, it's understandable. And when, apparently it is raining, but it's from the sprinklets, that were turned on by Ferb's dad. Yeah, this is where we get a brief appearance of Ferb's dad. And that's it. Okay, but, so to speed things up some, because, yeah, again, after, yeah, we get a song number between Isabella and Candace, yeah. Then at one point, the Avengers, and with what, the villains do next, and after, yeah, Doof had completed his, errands, and, having gotten, 4, balls of Mendium, if I'm even pronouncing that right, in order to activate the second power Draininator. Well, this is where the villains, they betray and have Doof be locked in a cage. And, well, they tricked Doof into thinking that they would, in addition with Doof, take over the tri-state area / Danville. But no. What they're going to do instead is obliterate it. And by using the power Draininator to drain more of the Earth's mightiest heroes, their powers. Yeah. And because I mentioned that there are no female heroes, because, yeah, Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, and Spider-Man, they're the only ones that are present at Danville. Seriously? I mean, not that I'm making a huge deal, of course. I'm just saying. It didn't occur to Nick Fury to maybe possibly assemble the other members of the Avengers, the biggest one, Captain America, he's he especially is totally absent, and of course with the addition of Black Widow and Hawkeye. But, hey, overall, Mission Marvel itself, it turned out fine, not having any other of the members of the Avengers, okay? But yeah, so again, Red Skull, Venom, Whiplash, and MODOK betraying Doof, and what they're planning to do with the tri-state area / Danville, and to use the power Draininator to drain more powers of heroes on Earth. And, well, even when they take care of Perry, because they can sense Perry's presence, and they take care of him being locked up as well, so thus, by using the power Draininator and other evil schemes they're about to do, yeah, and the Avengers, them realizing what they're going to do next, and them taking it upon themselves to, even with their powers being drained once again, because again, the machine that was built to give them their powers back, it was for a limited time, so yeah. And Thor making a statement on, not having, like, super strength, or however he says it, just, yeah, like, they'll do whatever it takes, even if they don't have the powers in them for now, just, yeah, so them walking off into the sunset, and, well, Phineas and Ferb, them still wanting to help out, and, which, of course, that's what they would do, and even, like, say, Buford managing to, earlier, catch up to Baljeet and get him to calm down, and showing Baljeet the ways to, grab someone and just by the shirt and just, yeah, which causes Baljeet to, unleash as the Hawk once again. Yeah. But eventually, of course, yeah, I mean, with Buford and Baljeet helping, and Buford being in his special, like, superhero costume, what he wears in this. Meanwhile, Isabel and Candace, they still, despite what they just went through in their song number, I mean, they still feel the opportunity that they need to do something. And it occurs to them about, maybe, possibly, up at the space station, they can, it might have the powers of the Avengers, like having that on the space station, so thus making their way. Candace sees a red button, maybe it will be the solution to, but of course not. Like, yeah, usually red buttons are doom, and yeah, by pressing it, it causes the space station to lose its gravity and making its way down to Earth. Well, I mean, again, how is Candace supposed to know? Yeah. And by the way, because, all throughout this, again, Phineas and Candace's mom roaming around all day through Danville, still totally unaware of what's happening. And that's another thing. Is she or is she not aware that the Avengers actually do exist? Beats me. I don't know. Because, New York is in the world of Phineas and Ferb, and with that, the Avengers. So, I don't know. Maybe some of you know. Feel free to let me know. But anyways, I don't want to really dwell on it and complain. Just, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, the Avengers then making their way to where the villains are right now, and what, soon about to use the power Draininator. And they had to take a bus, and even Stan Lee popping in at one point and complaining about what the villains did, and, because of the hot dog vendors. Yeah, anyways. And meanwhile, at Doofenshmirtz's Evil Incorporated, well, because Perry managing to get his way out of the cage, and, yeah, Doof actually does lend a hand using a waffle-inator, best way to put it, because, yeah, it literally shooting waffles at the villains. And Perry, of course, stepping in for action, joining the Avengers, and sure enough, yeah, because when Phineas, Ferb, Baljeet, and Buford step in to help take on the Marvel villains, well, with that, then, Candace and Isabella making their way, the space station crash landing, and, well, with the help of Candace and Isabella, giving the Earth's mightiest heroes their powers back. And once they get their powers back, the right powers, yes, they've got this from here, having Phineas, Ferb, Baljeet, Buford, Isabella, and Candace to sit back and watch the show. Yes, and thus that's what they do. And Baljeet calming down. It even leaves us wondering if they ever got that sorted out. Taking away the Hawk serum, that was shot in Baljeet. Probably so, but, knowing them, of course, they just found a way to do so without having us see it on screen, but, yeah. And Phineas, he does apologize to Candace for, blowing up in her face, kinda, But Candace, well, she's still gonna bust them, yeah. And thus, yeah, making her way to find Mom, and yeah, with the Avengers having take down the Marvel villains, Nick Fury stepping in, they're taking in the villains and thanking Phineas and Ferb for their service and helping out the Avengers, and even, Tony mentioning if they're ever interested, maybe they could sign up for Stark Industries, sorry. And yeah, them disembarking, and Doof, he was actually at one point planning to use a disintegrator or something. Yeah, tried to further help defeat the Marvel villains. He uses it, but little does he know that, they had already been defeated, and he shoots it at Phineas and Ferb's space station. Yeah, because Candace was, bringing her mom to show that, the space station's right there, but because Doofenshmirtz destroyed it, it's no longer there, and yeah. So, again, mom missing out on so much, just, yeah. And, well, as for Perry, because, he did join the Avengers taking on the Marvel villains, and, while the end credits roll, we get one more scene, and that's where Phineas and the gang, they thank the superhero Platypus, and them actually about to take off his mask, and they're gonna see that it's Perry, but just in the nick of time, Perry managed to do this that quickly, for one thing, he is Perry, managing to put on a Ducky Momo mask, and they fall for this. They think it's Ducky Momo, and Candace, fainting to the sight of Ducky Momo. And, Perry showing up. He managed to get out of that costume quickly and with a Ducky Momo mask, and And not to mention that Perry's superhero costume was disposed of in the trash can. Okay, I assume that the headquarters will retrieve the costume, or maybe Perry later. I don't know, but But that was a funny way to end off Mission Marvel. Overall, Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel. It's another great piece of Phineas and Ferb material, another great Phineas and Ferb special, where we have the boys cross paths with the Avengers / Earth's mightiest heroes, and, whom they go up against. Of course, the Marvel villains, the selection being Red Skull, Whiplash, MODOK, Venom, and whom else would they team up with than, Doofenshmirtz, but having to later betray him and such because of his silliness and, him, how Doofenshmirtz is evil, the gags, the jokes, the hilarious / funny moments, the emotional moments are good, of course. The songs in Mission Marvel, good, of course. And the other ones that I didn't name, just overall, the song numbers in Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel be no disappointment. Again, not one single song of Phineas and Ferb disappoints, right? The animation, of course, fantastic, and of course, because with the Marvel characters blending in so well in the world of Phineas and Ferb, the music and score, the action, the climax, seeing the Avengers and their arch enemies in battle and in combat, and with Stan Lee's cameo, of course, everything about Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel, was no disappointment, And I'm giving Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel, what the heck, 10 out of 10 stars. Yes, 10 out of 10 stars for Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel. And what about you guys? What did you think of Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel itself? What are your fondest memories when this was happening? Were you there too? I don't see why not. Where, you knew this was coming, you were excited for it and prepped for it, and when some of the first trailers came out and the episode itself premiered, what was it like when, you first watched this episode and just seeing the Avengers interact and team up with Phineas and Ferb, and the villains teaming up with the Doofenshmirtz, the gags, the jokes, the songs, the emotional moments, Stan Lee's cameo, Overall, what do you think of Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel itself, and if it's also one of your favorite pieces of Phineas and Ferb material, the special Phineas and Ferb episodes, materials, you get my point. And with what I've had to say, my review, and what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I will see you guys in the next video /review. And, of course, continuing on with Phineas and Ferb Weekend. There's only 2 left, and stay tuned because the second to last Phineas and Ferb special material, that I'll be reviewing, not long after Phineas and Ferb having crossed paths with Marvel, just a year later, Phineas and Ferb would find themselves in a galaxy far, far away. Of course you know what it is. Yeah. Again, stay tuned for that. A part of Phineas and Ferb Weekend. Yeah. Take care, peace out, and Avengers, assemble.